What's up, guys? Here with you with FC Wonderkid, episode 11. Here with my guy, Bredson. How are you?
I'm doing good. I can hear the pain in your voice, Alex. I can hear the pain in your voice.
Well,
So
it's
we,
the
yeah,
it's the pain of everyone in Group F. Nobody in Group F got through to the quarterfinals.
yeah,
So it's quite surreal, if you ask me, that this happened.
sure.
But yeah,
That's called cannibalization. You guys beat each other up too much in Group F, and when you get out to round of 16 opponents, it's just too much on them.
but
But yeah,
it's you. You know, you said the pain, and the Portugal pain is real because we had such a good squad leading up to the tournament.
hmm
And starting the tournament with William and Danilo, I'll be personally, I wasn't very hopeful since then.
sure.
When I saw Gnat coming on, my that fire was coming back, but
Yeah,
a lot happened since then. But I actually was happy to see André Silva get some minutes in the end because he confirmed that he should have started earlier,
yeah,
in my opinion, because he was really. I think Ronald wouldn't mind to go to a winger position. I just think our formation is so dependent on Ronaldo. Like, we have so many crosses going in when we're a small squad. Like, where does that make sense? Like,
yeah,
Portuguese people aren't tall. We're not like the Scandinavians, like the German. Like, we like the ball on the floor, and we're
yeah,
crossing in the ball dependent on the heading of Ronaldo. Makes
yeah.
no sense. Makes no sense.
And in the end, I gotta say, I mean, just from an outsider's view, and in talking with you, I think there's really only what two players that, from Portugal through the whole tournament that really increased their stock, right? And I'm going to actually ask you, what two players do you think before I say them?
Gnat Sanch, for sure, his stock increased. And Palhinha, too. I think
Yeah,
Palhinha confirmed that he'll leave Sporting because he's too good of a CDM at
yeah,
such a good age. I think the age of 25. So it's an extremely attractive player. He's very tall. He's got long legs. He's got a
hmm
good pass, and the skill on Pogba.
yeah,
Sheesh, that
yeah,
was good.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it also needs to be said, and I know it's kind of like what's it called, a Pyrrhic victory, when you say the right two people that were needed from the beginning, and those are the two people that definitely fared the best for Portugal. Because yeah, not that you need my approval, but yeah, Renato Sanchez and João Palhinha were definitely the two that raised their stock in my book. But it's a tough tournament. You guys had the toughest draw easily, and like you said, Group F did not survive. It did not take kindly, and who knew that it would be Switzerland that vanquished France. But I don't want to move on too fast. Were there any other things you had to say about that? Because I don't feel qualified on the subject, but I do know that was painful as all hell.
Well, another thing I'd like to say is I'd like to have seen more of Jean Felix in the tournament
Right.
because he's the type of player that in 30 minutes coming off the bench, he can make
hmm
something happen. And I think in the first game he wasn't even on the bench,
Right.
and a player like Felix needs to be on the bench. And for this, I think Fernando Santos will stay in Portugal until the World Cup because he won
Yeah.
a Nations League and he won a Euros. But I think Ronald might leave the national team after the World Cup, and
Yeah.
Pep for sure he'll leave after the World Cup.
Yeah.
So it's time for
I,
a new manager, and I'd go with Leonard Jardim because he knows how to trust the youth. He's dealt with a lot of big athletes like Mbappe at Monaco. He was a kid, yes, but he's had Bernard Silva in the past. He's had a lot of talent, young talent in his hands, and he made a beauty. You know the job he made at Monaco. I'd
oh,
love to see it. A Bell too,
yeah.
another good option. And risky, but I like it. André Villas-Boas. Okay,
Okay.
I feel
Oh.
like it's better because I like to say this just to end it. If we have Fernand Sanch after the World Cup, we
mhm,
are assuming that with any team we play against, we're going to open the game defensively.
Right.
And Portugal doesn't have the team for that nowadays.
Do you really
Too
want to
much
put that?
offensive talent.
Yeah, do you really want to be that team? The best Portuguese teams that we all remember are
Exactly.
teams built on attack. And okay, so you are saying, because it doesn't make any sense to necessarily jettison a coach, although I know
Hmm.
De Boer's out at Netherlands and
Yeah.
some other ones. I mean, but it doesn't make sense to jettison a coach necessarily when you've only
Yeah.
got a small window before the next World Cup. You want to keep that in there, but we did know why. We did find out why João Felix did not see the field, right? And that was an ankle surgery. I know he went in and he's expected out for about 8 weeks, 12 weeks, something like that. So he, like Kevin De Bruyne in the last game, and my Belgian finalist thing is gone and dusted and whatever. He was also playing with structural damage, I believe,
True.
João
True.
Felix. So we wish him a solid recovery because he's in dire need also of a phenomenal club season. I mean, a club season where he scores 10 assists, 10, and also lifts another La Liga trophy would be pretty damn good, right?
But
Um,
don't be too hard on yourself. Like you
yeah,
said, Denmark were going to the final,
yeah,
so that might happen. But how confident are you seeing this England squad?
I know.
Henderson scoring. I love to see that.
Yeah,
Uh, how confident are you that the Danish might beat England?
it's tough now, and it's tough for one reason. Not the Luke Shaw, duo of assists, not the Jaden Sancho. Finally, he started and obviously showed what he can do, and that I don't. Gareth Southgate again. He's going to basically screw with people, screw with fans, with every squad selection because he has too many weapons to pick from. But in the end, why it makes it tough to continue to say Denmark's going to be a finalist is, and you mentioned this previously, Harry Kane, right?
Mhm.
Harry Kane is finding the net. Harry Kane is getting on the end of crosses.
Finally.
I just think with a Harry Kane in stride. Ooh, I don't know. I'm not ready to change it. And we only have a day turnaround. I think the first game's tomorrow. Second game is Wednesday, and
I
we're
think it's the
recording
day
this.
after.
Oh
The
yeah,
day
yeah,
after
two,
tomorrow.
2 days. This is Sunday. We're recording this on July 4th, hence the U.S. jersey, right? So it is tough, but I'm not ready to change it because we gotta go over these narratives, quickly. And I really have to. I have to say this. It's very, very easy to not like Gareth Southgate, right? When there's something about when he talks, it feels like a fifth grade teacher in some respect. But he's actually like, if you've ever read the guy, if you actually
He's a nice
listen to
guy.
interviews, if you listen to what he says, he's very much like a values based, build a culture type of a national team coach. And he's been given the time to do that with England. And I honestly do believe that he's succeeded. I believe that this man is still trying to atone and redeem himself from missing, I believe it was in the 1996 Euros against Germany in the semifinals. He missed the penalty kick, right? He missed the penalty kick. And he has now brought back what? Not one, but two semifinal appearances. And he's built a team. He can get his tactics wrong. He's still a young coach in that respect, but you cannot look at this guy and say he does not have England's best, hopes at heart, right? This guy, I don't want to use a bad word, but it is very easy to rib on him, right? To really give him hell. And England is built on that criticism, right? But we have to say it. Gareth Southgate has definitely changed the English team for the better, in my opinion.
Well, I think very good take in general. I think Southgate will always get slandered because he's the England coach. I've said in the past, the England coach is the most difficult job out there, in my opinion. And with that, do I think he's done a good job in these Euros? I agree. I can't disagree with that. I think the United tax is real because Sancho starts and he does a pretty good start.
Mm-hmm.
And those values that you said, a bit like Fernand Sancho trusts Moutinho constantly, Southgate trusts Sterling. And Sterling is performing. which is fantastic to see. And I do have to agree that Sterling throughout his career got so much hate, not justified. And mind to say, some of it was because of it was racism. Okay, and it's so sad that a player with this quality like would be judged just by the color of his skin. And I'm happy that Sterling is achieving what he's supposed to achieve 100% at City, but there's a Luke Shaw too. It's interesting to mention that Luke Shaw for me is the second best English player on the pitch.
Yeah.
Mourinho Mourinho must be going crazy inside. And
well,
yes,
not only that, Luke Shaw's doing well, and he just lost Spinazzola, right? Spinazzola is he Roma? Yeah, he's Roma.
yes. Spinazzola is a huge. It's so sad though. Like the moment when I was watching the game, and the moment you see him stop running, you understand it's a muscle injury, and it's going to be, to say the least, 4 months, 3-4 months, and it was 5-6 now. So incredibly sad.
Players, yeah, some of the best players that have come and really, really upped their stock in this tournament have been the wingbacks, have been the fullbacks. You know, Shaw, Spinazzola. You got Joachim Mela. I'm probably pronouncing that name wrong.
Denmark, yes, fullback, fantastic player.
That freaking cross. Excuse my, excitement about this.
100%.
That cross was just absolutely beautiful. Outside 100%. Of the boot, you had the nice little feint or attempt on goal. It went right over his head to Kasper Dolberg, who just put it home, and 2 goals, 1 assist in the tournament. And that it's going to be a battle, England, Denmark. But let's go back to England, because I think you're right. I mean, Raheem Sterling has definitely proved some doubters wrong, and call it what you want, right? We can always sit there and say, hey, he puts himself in these positions, he gets it done. He did not back out of the spotlight. He stepped up. Harry Kane is up now. Now you've got 2 guys that are basically ready and firing in all good form, heading into a semifinal that they absolutely on paper should win.
You said that. Yeah, I would like to highlight 2 players that the 2 have left the tournament, and one is Sommer, Switzerland keeper. What a performance against France, and he left the tournament in style. His team had less. They didn't have a player. He was playing with one less player, and he had to deliver. He did. And the second player is Zinchenko, because the Ukraine, he was the soul of that team, and even the celebration in that game, he was giving it all. So I'd like to give a special mention to him.
And him in midfield too. Him in midfield. Exactly. I want to see more of that. I said it a couple episodes ago, but him in midfield, he was the soul of that team. And let's throw another one on there that's departing. Does he?
He'll have to leave to play in midfield, in my
opinion. Well, yeah, no, of course. I thought you said he wants to leave. I'm like, no. He might. No, I think he's pretty okay with his role there under Pep, and it's going to be interesting, unless of course they go and they sign. You say it. I can't say it. There you go. But we do have to say farewell, because the joint top scorer in the tournament obviously scored one last one. It was a little bit of a consolation goal versus England, but yeah, Patrick Schick. I mean, once again, if you actually go and you look at this kid's run sheet, he's not the type that's going to score 40 and 40. Right, but he's pretty consistent. I mean, even in an injury-plagued kind of transitional year at Bayer Leverkusen last year, he still put, I think it was 9 Bundesliga goals in 20 games. And for him to have 5 and 5 with the Czech Republic, a team that not many people looked at aside from the West Ham contingent, to have a phenomenal tournament, he was great, and obviously provided us with the goal of the tournament. So.
Well, to be honest, I was on the fence leading up to the tournament with Patrick Schick, but I'm leaving the tournament. He's leaving the tournament thinking, I deserve a move, and I deserve to be the main man in the offense of the team I play for. 5 goals in the Euros, and one of the goals being the goal of the tournament. Talk about the stock rising. Patrick Schick's stock has risen.
For sure, for sure. The thing is though, you got to move. I mean, you got to remember, Roma
Mm-hmm.
signed him for like 40 million euros
Yep.
several years ago, 5 years ago, and then Leverkusen swept in. I think it was last summer, maybe. I don't remember when, but for like 25 million euros. I don't know why he'd want to leave right now because he's
Mm.
got Moussa Diaby and Leon Bailey on either side of him.
Let's see.
Um, you know,
Let's see.
well, we will see. We will see. But if
I
I
think.
were him, I'd shoot for consistency over that high profile move because he tried it with Roma. It was too early. It didn't work out. Let's hope that I think the Bundesliga suits him correctly. But
Premier League might come knocking, in my opinion. You
you
never know.
join West
But
Ham.
I really wanted to mention these two things in the Euros, and I'll finish it up there. And one of them is Doku for
Yeah.
Belgium, another player who left the tournament in style. If that goal with those two cut insides went in, Doku would have 100 million transfer
Right.
straight away on the spot. But interesting fact, Jeremy Doku was the first player since Wayne Rooney in 2004. So he's the youngest player to win a penalty in the Euros.
Okay.
So that's an unbelievable stat, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And a lot of teams are going to look at Doku, seeing him maybe as a cheaper option to Mbappe, Liverpool winking. And I don't know, Doku must be excited now with life.
Of course. Well, let's check in with him. We'll have to check in with him. I don't know. You might be too big for us now. Jeremy,
Yeah.
let's talk. No, but I mean, on top of that, come on, 8 dribbles, 1. I think that's the most for a teenager in a European championship since like, I don't know, 1990 something, 1980 something. It's just, he was fearless. He's like, I get the opportunity to go start for Belgium of all teams. And he just took it at him. And yeah, if that hit, yeah, 100 million, easy. Okay, maybe not 100 million, but it would have been pretty damn high. But one of the last ones, I mean, Pedri, man. It's almost becoming like first game we were all like, look at him, he's so great, this, that, and just waxing poetic about this 18-year-old. He's still 18, right? Yeah.
Yes.
This 18-year-old. And now we're 5 games in, and it's almost commonplace. It's like we expected of him. He's just kind of this fixture in the Spanish national team who I know, this isn't the Iniesta, Xavi days of old, but in the Spanish national team, he is considered the guy, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, just look at like to clinch a semifinal berth in what was a crazy game. He played pretty much the whole game, 120 minutes, right? Extra time included. 91% pass completion, over 100 passes, I think. He had 5 key passes, 5 tackles, 1. He was literally one of the most engaged on the pitch, and he plays to his strengths as an 18-year-old. And this, you have to think about this. An 18-year-old that knows, what his weaknesses are, that's unheard of. We all think we're impervious as an 18-year-old, right? We all think like you can't do anything wrong and we're always right. Pedri knows exactly what he doesn't do well and what he does really well, and he just focuses on it. And that game in and of itself felt like an embodiment of that for me. So it's just so bizarre that beginning of the tournament, we were so ecstatic to just see him play a part, even though we expected it. And now by the end, we consider him the foundation of the Spanish midfield.
Like, what a way of explaining Pedri. But I'll say this. Wouldn't you be humbled every training section next to Lionel Messi?
Oh, hell yeah.
So I'd feel like I need to learn every training session I'm next to Messi. Yeah. And what I love about Pedri is the more he plays, the better he is in his positioning. And seeing the improvement in these 60 games, okay, we haven't seen every game, but I'd easily say I saw 30 Barcelona games, and the improvement on Pedri is very, very noticeable. He's the star in the Spain midfield, and I like that take. But finishing off, Pogba, what was that celebration? You know, the 3-1 goal, and then Pogba's there, win the game, and then do the But to be fair, I love Pogba. Okay, but I didn't
I
feel
just
like
have
it
to
was
say I can't
correct.
see a video of you doing that right now. I can
Yeah.
only hear noises. So that was amazing.
But I want to go bold here with a take, and I was thinking about this yesterday, and I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna go bold here, and I think Zidane should be the next France manager. I think the rebuild is inevitable. It's
Yes.
soon. Just like Portugal, France can't go into games with a defensive mindset. You got too much talent. You like Shirky, Mbappe is still young. Dembele, I feel he's gonna when he's 27, 28, he's gonna be a much better player. So too much talent and offensive talent to stay with this style of play. So
I
I
don't know how bold that is, man. I think that is a very solid, grounded take. I just don't know when you do it again with that, with the winter months
mhm.
uh, and in the World Cup here before we know it. Winter months
Mhm.
meaning, in Qatar it'll be
Yes, yes, yes.
winter. So I really don't know when you do it.
I could see it happening.
It's tough. That is just tough.
Well, we got the Euros wrapped up.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
Uh
Can I just say one more thing because we didn't from the Danish win because that was just impressive. And this kid Mela has first off that cross is still in my head. I probably replayed it 50 times, right? Because I just absolutely loved it. But what I love the most about this kid, he's only 24, plays for Atalanta, right? Who uses
mhm.
their wingbacks in the way you want to use wingbacks, in my opinion. Um, but he came from the Genk, not from the system Genk. He was actually at Aalborg, but really came up at Genk with Ruslan Malinovsky, Timothy Castagna. Essentially, he was the replacement for Timothy Castagna when he left for Atalanta. And then when Timothy Castagna made the leap to Leicester, who did Atalanta call, right? Who did they pick up for the replacement?
Of
And I
course.
think we have to make sure that we watch him post tournament because he's just, I think he was probably one of the best wingbacks or is the best wingback in the tournament. Definitely best defender and probably
Mhm.
one of the best players in the tournament right now. And we did not give him enough love, maybe because he's, a shade over 23. But really, 2 goals, 1 assist, 5 games.
Yeah.
He's going to be key. Although England did really well shutting down the wingbacks against Germany, it'll be
Mhm.
interesting what they can do with Mela. And oh, by the way, Mela normally plays on the right. He's been
Mhm.
playing left back this whole tournament. So he can do it on both sides, even though he did not play there at all, I believe, for Atalanto. So I just had to get that in before I, lose it forever. So moving on from Euro, games Tuesday, games Wednesday. It's going to be amazing. I think we're going to avoid making predictions, right? Because we
Yeah,
got
yeah, yeah. We got
a
that
lot
so
of,
wrong.
yeah,
Those predictions, they got us so wrong. So let's go with what we know happened. And we have a couple of transfers that we know that happened. And I like to say, it happened. Sancho has finally gone to Man United. When I
yeah,
saw that, I think Fabrizio even had a special post saying, "Here we go,"
yep.
because the talk has been, oh my days, how many years? Like a year and a half? Sancho Man
Mhm.
United, Sancho Man United.
Yeah.
Like, so you go mad with all this, It's.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what 3 transfer windows and
Whew.
COVID in between, where we all just kind of were salivating for transfer news. And I believe that Jaden Sancho thing was just killed to death over the last 18 months. But yeah, it's done. And now Manchester United arguably has the 3 top U23
Mm.
players, English U23 players, um, in Rashford, Greenwood, and Sancho.
Come on, Foden.
I know, I know. I'm just saying. So I should have said 3 of the top
No offense.
U23.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But,
I
but
agree.
come on,
Yeah.
that is just a glut of talent that they'll be able to build around, and they're all going to be able to hopefully by osmosis get a whole bunch from Cavani another year, and
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it, even though I said it wasn't going to happen. I'm happy it did, and I can't wait to see him hit the ground running.
You got a good prediction there. I do think Mason Greenwood is going to be the striker after Cavani. I think it should be like that at least.
Mm.
Rashford, left winger. Finally, no excuses. Rashford, it's now or never.
Mm-hmm.
And Sancho at right winger. I think he'll deliver. I think Sancho at Man United is going to be fantastic. I think they have to prioritize now having a CDM next to Scott McTominay and Bruno.
Okay.
And let's see. But I had a transfer here, which I was a bit out of the air when I saw it, and it was Nuno Tavares to
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal. Uh, how did this happen? When did this happen? Is this what? Like, what was your reaction seeing this? Like,
Uh, Depth, future backup, but I believe that there are better choices out there. And nothing against Nuno Tavares.
mm.
I don't know him. I haven't watched him. I mean, I do know him. I have watched him, but ultimately, it is not. It's not necessarily the player I would have picked to be backing up Tierney,
Well,
right?
offensively, he's fantastic. I'm not going to say he's immaculate, but he's fantastic offensively. But
Mm.
defensively, he still needs a lot of improvements, in my opinion. You know, at least when I saw Benfica, he wasn't. He did have when he played at right back
Yeah.
as a quick solution, he delivered. But at left back, which is his preferred position, he has to come to Arsenal as a substitute. Like Tierney, 100%. You're safe. You got that spot. But I was surprised with it. Honestly, I was really surprised. But
If you're surprised, that makes me doubly surprised. But we have a lot more to say about Arsenal in a little bit. Well,
mhm.
it was what 8 million euros for him.
8 million, 8
Uh,
million.
so I
But
mean,
millions, millions is PSG talk because in this transfer window we might see Donnarumma,
right?
Wijnaldum, Sergio
Yeah.
Ramos, Hakimi, and I know I'm missing out on one player, but what a transfer window. Like Neymar has an amazing supporting cast now at PSG.
It's,
Amazing.
it's Champions League
And
bust.
exactly. And I want to say this Gigi Donnarumma is the best goalkeeper in the world at 22. He
I
is.
yeah.
He is.
I'm not going to look
And
stunned. I'm not going to look stunned. That's probably the right statement.
yeah, he is. And they're going to have Rams, Hakimi,
Mhm.
like Neymar. This if they don't win the Champions League, oh my days, PSG is going to be a banner club, you
Yeah.
know? So the salary cap. Imagine the salary cap at PSG.
I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe Sergio Ramos is taking a minimum salary. He doesn't need the money. No, I'm just kidding. There's no way in hell. There's no way in hell. Yeah, that's one hell of a bloated salary. And this is like a 1 or 2 year thing, right? I mean, this is not. This is
Yeah.
like. I mean, yes, with Hakimi, you've set yourself up for a long period of time, but ultimately with Ramos, I don't know. Could he play till 45? Probably. But let's be honest. This is hey, Thiago Silva went to Chelsea. They won the Champions League.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who knows? Maybe Sergio Ramos, who has a much better CV than Thiago Silva, maybe he goes to PSG, gets it done, and then retires in all its glory after that. But I know I joked when you asked me where I thought Sergio Ramos should go a couple episodes back. I just want to see him play, and I'm happy he's found a place, and I'm sure he's very happy with the contract he's going to be getting.
Yeah. Yeah, true. It's an interesting scenario, and I'd like to speak about this because Wijnaldum, if he's going to PSG, someone needs to replace him at Liverpool,
Mm-hmm.
and my choice is Klopp must be thinking this too. Gnat Sanch must be Liverpool's #1 transfer target, in my
Sure.
opinion.
Yeah.
Like it's match made in heaven. Gnat to Liverpool, in my opinion. It's fantastic.
And
Maybe
yet all
Doku
the
too. I'd
yeah.
like to see Doku too.
Okay. Mm.
So yeah.
That'd be nice. But I think from combing all the transfer rumors,
Mm.
which mean nothing. Uh, but I have seen Renato Sanchez pretty much in the view of Arsenal. a lot. I've heard that thrown around, and it's apparently gaining steam. At least it's gaining steam on, Arsenal message boards and blogs and podcasts and whatnot. So I
Mm.
think you're going to find him in the Premier League, and it kind of makes sense after that Euros he's had. But only if you're willing to invite the bad with the good, because we know he's not flawless. He has to be in the right system. No.
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. He has to be in the right system, but it's not difficult to find a system that fits Knut
Well, that's true.
nowadays in modern football, because
Yeah.
he's a fantastic box to box midfielder,
Yeah.
and pure strength, ball conduction, technique, passing ability. In my opinion, is very underrated with Knut Sanch. People often think he doesn't pass the ball very well, and I disagree. He can change flank very well. I saw that in the Euros.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's Liverpool, snatch him up. But Billy Gilmore, I saw Billy. You're a big Billy Gilmore fan, aren't you?
Well, you
He's
are too. I mean, I think we both share in this one. I love Billy Gilmore. I love myself David Turnbull. Those are my two Scottish crushes, and I am very happy that he's going to be playing day in day out. I'm very happy, and I do think that with Gilmore, and they just brought in Milo Rashica from Werder Bremen, who were relegated.
Mhm.
I do think, and he's to replace Buendia, I believe, but I do think that with Gilmore in the center playing kind of that Oliver Skip role that had them promoted from the championship last year, I really do feel like they have a good shot at not getting relegated again.
It's a good
uh,
move.
it is a good move because, he's not going to get the playing time at Chelsea right now. He just isn't.
Yeah,
So,
and in the first match, Billy Gilmore's gonna deliver, because we
yeah,
know every first match Billy Gilmore delivers.
that's true.
And a bit like an Oliver Skip loan too,
Yeah.
but I see him as an even more proven player than Oliver Skip at that time. So I think Norwich, fantastic choice.
Yeah.
I'd like
Yeah.
to mention you mentioned Milo Hashika going to Norwich. I'd
Yep.
like to mention what happened with Andres Silva going to Leipzig for
Uh,
23 million. Didn't any
that's
Premier League team see him? Maybe Wolves? I don't
Yeah.
know.
I feel like Leipzig got a steal for that amount of money. 28 Bundesliga goals. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Uh, that is cheap. So now you're looking at Andre Silva getting. I think before it was Kamada, right? The who was the other guy? Putting in the assists, essentially assisting Andre Silva. Philip Kostic.
Oh,
Sorry, when my brain starts thinking about something, it needs to actually work through it. I
you
apologize.
meant at Frankfurt. I was thinking,
Yes.
who at Leipzig?
Yeah, 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 no. So he's going from Kamada and Kostic
Mhm.
to Christopher Nkunku, to Emil Forsberg, to come on, who are the
Sabitzer.
other ones? Who?
Sabitzer.
Yes,
Sabitzer.
I mean they've and that's not even scraping the surface. Oh, Dominic Soboslai. Come on, when he's healthy. So I really like the move. I know they've had very limited, aside from Yusuf Poulsen, they've
Mhm.
had very limited success with their striker picks. And I know Silva can play on the wings too and all that fun stuff. But,
Mhm.
you're looking at, they've gone through Sorlot. They've gone through Patrick Schick previous to
Yes.
that, they recall on loan. So I think this is the one that sticks. And I think Silva's found a team for years to come. I
This
hope so.
one, well, if it's not Andres Silva sticking, it's Brian Brobby sticking.
Yeah, well, that's
So I think RB Leipzig had a fantastic window, even if they finished it now.
yeah,
And congratulations, even Gvardiol, Dinam Zagreb center back. That's a fantastic snatch there too.
yeah,
I'm excited to see Leipzig. I
yeah.
like to finish like my transfers point here, and it's my last one, and that is Nunchpiritsan going to Tottenham. And I'd like to say something, and I don't think this is a bad choice done by Tottenham, but I do think that the way they conducted themselves previously, before they had the Nunchpiritsan deal done,
Yeah.
was they took too long. And Nunchpiritsan comes to Tottenham almost as a desperate option after asking every manager in the world.
Yeah.
Now Nunchpiritsan is announced.
Yeah.
So it's a bit weird. I hope for the best. I did see some rumors that we started it. We said Dusan Vlahovic was perfect Harry Kane replacement in some podcasts previously, and now we're seeing some rumors with it. Love to
We
see it.
are. We are.
And yeah,
it,
it's
it's going to be a weird year for Tottenham.
yeah.
But I'll tell you what, if Højbjerg plays for Tottenham the way he's been
Mm,
playing for Denmark, I think they'll be just fine. Maybe getting back into that top four. But yeah, I agree with you. I think
mm-hmm.
you want to give your manager at least a little bit of a runway leading up to the new year. But man, it does feel, and it shouldn't because he's a hell of a manager, right? It does feel there's the aesthetics of this is our last choice, and we're just going with it, and let's wing it. But he's back to do pretty well, and frankly, he's got a system. He's going to implement it, and I think it could work at a place with resources like Tottenham. Um,
Mm,
and it's a step up from a resource standpoint than Wolves, maybe. But it's also a step up from a pressure standpoint.
yeah.
But let's not go away from transfers just yet, because him as the former Wolves coach, we obviously have
Mm.
Wolves still continuing, obviously with Bruno Lage in charge now, still continuing with collecting phenomenal Portuguese wonder kids, right? And I don't know. I'm gonna cut my ear here. I don't know how to say this particular one because I'll just butcher it with my American accent. But who did they get on loan?
Wolves just signed Francisco Trincão, former Braga player,
Yeah.
and really sketchy deal if you were to ask me.
Okay.
Jorge Mendes printed all over it. Okay. Ever since he left Braga, yeah, it's clear Jorge Mendes has been having something with these moves, and it saddens me because I just want to see Trincão play night
Yeah.
in, night out,
Mhm.
and that should be the focus, his development. And a bit like Gnat, I feel like he didn't do the right moves at the start, like Felix. I'm now seeing Trincão,
Yeah.
so I see Nuno Mendes doing good decisions and Bruno Fernandes, but yeah, it's hard. I don't know. It's Francisco Trincão. I hope he plays at Wolves. I just hope he plays at Wolves.
And
Fabio,
you're worried that he won't?
yeah, I am worried. Maybe
Um,
he won't. I think Fabio Silva is gonna have a good season. I'm expecting 10 goals this season for Fabio Silva in the
okay.
Premier League. It's
Sure.
a bold statement, but I expect Fabio Silva to deliver this
Yeah.
season. Trincão, I don't know. I'd love to see it. I think dribbling wise, Trincão is one of the best talents out there, but he needs confidence. And I do think the Prem is going to be vicious on Trincão, like tackling wise. Trincão needs to be prepared.
Isn't that
Needs
why?
to be prepared.
Isn't that why Fabio Silva is?
No, no,
Work.
no. I think Fabio
No,
Silva.
no. I mean, isn't that why he's working his ass off this summer to improve his
Oh,
physicality?
oh, true, true, true. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, I wasn't saying anything bad about him. I just meant he's working because I think he realized last season this is a different breed of defender. I guess.
Oh yeah, he's building up a body, Fabio Silva. Like those Instagram pics, like you can see his back is huge now,
Yeah.
and I think he's ready. I like to see it.
I do too,
Uh,
and I gotta say, I mean, it makes me happy on paper, but Pedro Neto, Rafa, and Trincao, I mean, come on, that's pretty solid front three, is it not?
yeah,
And
yeah.
Fabio Silva is going to be getting more time this year, I would imagine too. So I like it. It's just, yeah, I guess I didn't think I was more surprised that after signing him for 31 million euros, right, that a Barcelona would not necessarily have more patience with his
Mm-hmm.
development there. Because if you're Barcelona, you in some respects, unless it's a financial move, which it probably is, in
Yeah.
some respects, you would think that day in day out learning, like a Pedri does from a Messi or from an Ousmane Dembele, because you're always going to get your chances with how often, sadly, injured he is. You would think that keeping him around makes the most sense, and they're doing it. They're doing it with guys like Serginho Dest, with Oscar Mingueza, with
Yep.
Iliax Mariba. I mean, these are guys that they're letting play through their mistakes. So why not with Trincao, right?
Yeah, I
And
agree. It's
it'll
weird.
be interesting. But
Well, We need to see another scenario, and yeah, it's new life. Let's see how Trincão goes at Wolves.
Yeah.
But let's see how the Bundesliga is without Jadon Sancho, right? Because we were
Right.
discussing our third topic, and it's who's the next wonder kid after Sancho leaves in the Bundesliga. Do you mind
Right.
if I start here?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I'm going number one, and it's the player I was most excited to see in the Euros.
Hmm.
He didn't play, so therefore I'm going to say he's the most exciting player I want to see in the Bundesliga this season, and that is Dominik Szoboszlai.
Yeah.
Creativity, speed, clutchness, he's got it
Mhm.
all. I just hope he comes back from injury like healthy, because it's been a couple of months, and emotionally it must have been incredibly hard to see Hungary leaving the way they did. Like they just needed a player like him.
Yeah,
Hungary had such a good competition, and I'm sure after seeing even that goal in the playoffs, Szoboszlai would have made a difference for Hungary.
absolutely.
So he's my first player to watch in the
All right.
Bundesliga.
I absolutely like that pick. You and I both have loved him since watching him at Red Bull Salzburg. Um, but I'm going to go with one that's a little more unknown. Although he did make his Bundesliga debut last year at, I
Mm.
believe at 17, and that's Mohamed Sanko for Stuttgart. Okay. So I feel like he's put himself in a position to actually get some good game time this coming season. And he was dubbed, I believe he was dubbed the new Lukaku just because he's got that similar strength, similar blend of power, pace. But he's really been growing into getting more plaudits, in the whether it's in their blogs or on their website or from fans. And I just think, and I'm going to make a bold statement here, that I think if we're going to compare a Sanko as a striker to a guy like Yusufa Mukoko,
Mhm.
kind of similar in age, I think Sanko is going to have the better year this year. Do I
Yeah.
think he's going to have a Jadon Sancho like impact in Sancho's first year at Dortmund? Absolutely not. But I think he is going to work his way into being a pretty solid mainstay for them. So I believe he's 17 now, and can expect more from him this season.
That is a bold statement because I wouldn't bet against Mukoko, but you just did. So
I
you went bold, Breton.
You really know how to frame it as an all or nothing statement, right? No, I don't. I mean, I think Mukoko can have an impact, but
True.
hell, Dortmund's going to need one beyond Holland, and they're going to need to replace. So
True,
that's a
true,
whole other
true.
thing. So who's your next?
You mentioned the Stuttgart talent. I'm gonna mention the Stuttgart talent too. Tanguy Kolibali, left winger, deadly on a one-on-one scenario with
Yes, he is.
any fullback. I don't think he had the best stats this season. He's 20 years old, so time is with him. Um, and yeah, if you see highlights of him, you just see he's like a street footballer, like the
Yeah,
skill, the confidence. He's got long legs, so he's very difficult to mark.
a little like
And
Sancho, right? With a street footballer comment, and just
uh,
getting out of
a bit
tight
like who?
space,
A bit like who?
like Sancho,
Yes,
right?
yes, but I do think Sancho is a bit more technical than Tanguy, and I see more of a skiller with
Okay.
Tanguy. Like
Yeah.
like he likes to put that Ronaldinho skill. Sancho is more technical. He likes to keep the ball next to him, and he's just fast paced. He's more efficient, I'd say. Sancho is better, much better than Tanguy.
Well, yeah,
But
yeah.
but yeah, I'm hyped. I'm hyped with Tanguy Koulibaly. Guys, watch out.
All right. He's is he French? He's still got that the French flag next to him. Basically, could we see him in the Olympics? I don't know. We got to go back. I got to start looking at those rosters and see who's actually playing. But yeah, I know him and Silas. And I'm not going to try his last name. And I do know his last name is different now because he's actually 1 year
Yes.
older than he is, and there was all that.
Mhm.
Great transparency. Uh, but they really did at one point in the season. People were talking about both of them a lot. And I'd like to see that again next year for Stuttgart. So my next one, and I'm the eternal optimist here, it's going to happen. You ready? On Bayer Leverkusen's roster, there are two players that have unfortunately been just ravaged by injuries since making their moves. Okay. Ezekiel Palacios, who's a little
Yes.
bit older now, and Paulinho. And Paulinho is the guy that I am picking to actually have a sizable impact this year. I don't think it's going to be in a starting role, obviously, but I do think that there are plenty minutes to pick up if he's healthy. I know he's on the Brazilian roster heading into the Olympics. I did look at that one before I got on here. But I am the eternal optimist because I have just, people talked about him in the light of some of the best, ability at his age and compared him to some of the, I wouldn't say greats, but some of the very good Brazilian winger striker combos. And I really do believe he's 20 now. I do believe that he is going to finally get himself an injury-free year and have that impact that everybody expected of him coming over from Leverkusen.
What a pick. What a
Yeah.
pick. And I was hyped because, there's a special link between Portugal and Brazil. So
Sure.
all the talents in Brazil are kind of known here in Portugal.
Yeah.
And Paulinho, I saw Paulinho's name being so many times linked to coming to Benfica or to Sporting or to Porto. And I actually thought he was going to come.
Mm.
But fantastic talent. What a choice. Like, he's injury-free. He needs it. He needs it. And so my next choice is counting on that injury-free next season. And it's going to be Tanguy Kouassi.
Yeah.
Every time I can mention this kid, I'm going to mention it. Why? Because he still hasn't proven me he doesn't deserve it. Yes, he got the injury, but he's way too good for me to discredit right now. And Bayern Munich, they ain't afraid of playing young players. And if a young player manages to step up in the level they should for that position, Bayern will play him because they know the stock will rise. And I'm expecting a very good season for Tanguy Kouassi.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to piggyback on that, but Kouassi, I remember him making that move, making that jump to Bayern, then the unfortunate situation, injury, and all that coming all the way back. But you don't recover right away from an injury. The injury that he had, but you don't recover from an injury and then immediately get put back on the pitch by Bayern, right? So they very clearly I can't wait to see more of him because it has been a while. But he seems like a kid with a good head on his shoulders, with the versatility of being able to go DM, being able to go center back. And I think Bayern next year is going to need all the versatility they can get out of some of their youngsters, which leads me to my next one, which is the American center back, and I believe he's 20, might be 21 now, but Chris Richards. He already technically broke out last year. He was put on as a fullback, made a couple sub appearances, made even a start for Bayern. I believe he even had a goal called back, so he could have had a goal, but he did have his first assist. And then he was sent, understandably, on loan to Hoffenheim, where he started the rest of the season. Now, I don't think they're going to send him out on loan again. I honestly believe that because he can play fullback and because he can play center back, they likely are going to stick him around. And I'm calling for him to necessarily break out for Bayern this season. He just is a kid that has a very, very high ceiling. And frankly, from a very selfish perspective, U.S. men's national team perspective, we need somebody to develop next to a John Anthony Brooks, who is our big lumbering, we need somebody with speed, athleticism, positioning, still a big guy, and that's Richards. I really think he's got a very high ceiling, and I could, talk about why, but we have to keep it a little more short. So, those Bayern, I really do hope that they lean on their youth a little more this coming season, because it's going to be not a revolving door, but they're getting older. Bayern's getting older, and they need to kind of start putting people in there, right?
Well, U.S. men's national team do need Chris Richards to deliver, and I do understand your pick. So now I'm going to my final pick, and I'm gonna butcher the name, but my final pick is Hans-Gerd Noff, the Dortmund talent, in which We saw him play in the senior team as a right back,
Mhm.
but I remember seeing him in some youth footage playing as a winger. And boy, oh boy, offensively, he's got it. But I was so surprised defensively, him stepping up in Dortmund's main team.
Mhm.
And what I managed to see was crosses, perfect. Positioning up front, perfect. He's a speedy player too. So I think Dortmund won't be afraid to bet on him in the future as a fullback. So I expect to see him much more in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, I mean, we're about a month out or a little more than a month out until Dortmund they got to start making some signings if they want to replace a Sancho. But
Exactly.
until then, yeah, Knopf and Reina and Mukoko are definitely going to get their shots, I think, early on. So that'll be interesting. That's a really good pick too. And from what I did see from his limited time in the Bundesliga, he's got what it takes. He's got what it takes. So, all right, my last one then is 18-year-old. Kind of shocked me that he only went for about 8 million to them. To be honest, did not know that Wolfsburg did this type of. I always watch who Wolfsburg signs because they're generally very good on that front, and I missed this one completely. 18-year-old Belgian defensive mid, tough tackler, probably a little too tough. He's kind of known for racking up some cards, but it's Aster Vranks, and I probably butchered that last name. And he's basically already put in, I think it's like 50 plus appearances for KV Mechelen in the Belgian league. Has like 5 goals, 4 assists for a D mid, can play basically up the spine. And he's really just known for being mobile, quick. Kind of reminds me a lot, actually, of Arsenal target Albert Sambi Lokanga, except he's like 3 years younger, 4 years younger, and he's been thrust into high pressure situations in Belgium, and has fared very well for the youth national teams in Belgium. So I think Wolfsburg, if you're going to have a team to take him in and put him in a position to succeed, Wolfsburg, you couldn't look for a better place, frankly. So that is definitely one to watch. So I think he's going to make a run for the 11 quicker than some of these other guys we talked about. So definitely keep an eye on him. And there's so many others like Kwadia Kone, Angelo Stiller, who left Bayern to go to Hoffenheim, Ali Achman, who signed for Eintracht Frankfurt. So many other players to look out for. We might actually have to like maybe put it in the show notes, right?
Fact.
At some point.
Fact.
But we'll get to that.
But I think we need to get to our last topic now because we have 10 minutes left. And would you like to go on the rebuild?
Ooh, sure. You want to do the rebuild?
Yeah, let's go. Because the comment section have been going mad on this. Do an Arsenal rebuild. Arsenal rebuild. Because we've been hinting that we're going to do an Arsenal rebuild. And we've done a Tottenham one. So I think the Arsenal fans do deserve this one. And yeah, do you want to start here?
No, I want you to start here because I know you have a lot to say when it comes to you like these rebuild scenarios. You really like these rebuild scenarios.
I do. You know why? Because Arsenal needs a rebuild scenario. A team that finishes 8th. Come on, you need to think things out after you finish 8th. So leading on that, I'd like to say the first thing Arsenal should change is the manager. I don't think Arteta is the man. And I think Wenger looks like a genius next to Arteta. Because Wenger was never given what Alex Ferguson was given. And Fabregas left. Van Persie left. All these big players were leaving. And Wenger just wants an investment. And Arteta, he got Aubameyang a contract extension. They bought Nicolas Pepe for the same amount as they got as United got Sancho. So all this bad management is now showing. And my confirmation of Arteta out was when I saw that Saliba went on loan again. And now I'm sure Saliba is going on loan because of Arteta. In my opinion, it's clear as day.
And that's funny because in contrast, and I know you're going to go into who you think should be his replacement, but in contrast, it's hysterical because you asked me several episodes ago if I thought Arteta in or Arteta out. I said Arteta out. I've come to terms that it doesn't make sense to get rid of Mikel Arteta. Yeah, I've tiptoed around it for the last couple months, and I am not. Yeah, I get it. I'm not an Arsenal fan through and through. I don't watch them on an everyday basis, but I do believe continuity needs to be rewarded, and the positive of an Arteta, or a system that he's trying to build, whether that's a 4-3-3, which he hinted at, or I think what he normally played was a
He'll
four
play
three
with
two
three
one.
center backs. Yeah,
Yeah.
he likes the three center backs because he
Okay.
just can't rely on one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why.
Well, yeah, and the funny thing is I went back and I was doing due diligence on this, and I've been reading into why Arsenal has gone the way Arsenal has gone, and this has been
Hmm.
over the last couple months. And there were articles 2 years ago saying Arteta needs to be trusted with a full scale rebuild, and it's like, what's happened since then? It's only gotten worse, and I don't see any building blocks except for like an Emil Smith Rowe,
Yes.
Gabriel at center back, Bukayo Saka, obviously,
Hmm.
Thomas Partey, but if you can keep him healthy, Bernd Leno, fine, keep him in goal. He's okay,
Hmm.
but there's so much dead wood there that they need to get rid of. I
But
don't think they have the time to do it all.
like
Torreira, Guendouzi, Bellerin, what do you do? You
like you
know?
said it there, the number one guarantee in any rebuild else I see out there and in the comment section for this video is any team that Arsenal has, Saka is mandatory to be on that team
I agree.
because he's a youngster. I know he's 19, right?
Mhm.
But he deserves to be a key starter at Arsenal right now. He's earned that spot, and not as a fullback, as a winger. Any rebuild that I see of Arsenal, you need to put Saka at the winger spot.
Yeah, that's the big question about like where do you play him, right? So I agree with you. I agree with you. Absolutely.
For me, it's not a question anymore. But the tough thing here is Arsenal. If you're going to sign big players like a Locatelli, that I'm sick of seeing Locatelli to Arsenal rumors. Because do I think Locatelli should go to Arsenal? I think he would rather go to Juventus instead of Arsenal. Do I think it would be a bad move? No, but I think he'd go to Juventus first. But I am excited that Arsenal are signing youngsters. Like I saw Nun Tavares, we mentioned previously in this episode,
Yep,
and I'm seeing a lot Lokonga, which you're a big fan at
I
Anderlecht.
am. Absolutely.
He gives me Pogba vibes.
Mhm.
He's a very Pogba-esque player. Like he uses his body a lot. He's got a very good passing ability. He
Yeah.
uses his body very well. He's
Yeah,
very
probably not
agile.
as technical in any way, shape, or form, but
Okay.
he's a very, very good player.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
But still, we see here a pattern that Arsenal is trying to sign young under 23 players and at a cheap cost. I think it's 15 million Lukonga, 8 million Tavares. So these are the signings that you do if you have no European competitions.
Yeah.
They finished 8th. So they need to invest for the future. And my pick for mandatory buy that Arsenal needs is Alexander Isaac. I think regardless of any transfer they should do, they should aim their strengths to Alexander Isaac. Scandinavian talent, like just needs to have a team around him. And Saka, Martinelli, and Isaac is scary for me. And I think they'd have a better position in the future.
And if all of
Aubameyang,
Mhm.
like the Aubameyang too. Like this should be the year that determines if Aubameyang stays at Arsenal, yes or no. I think
Right,
he's earning 350 a week, 350k a week pounds.
chump change.
So that's a big wage for the club. So
Yeah.
they'd even want him on a cheap transfer just to get rid of that wage and
Yeah.
bring in a big top player at midfield, at center back too. Because
So,
this is something that's not mentioned. When you
right.
have a player like Aubameyang earning that, you're taking the slot to two other players that could be decently good too and performing on the same level.
Yeah.
So
Or
yeah,
or uh, or youth players that might actually deserve a shot. But so you're saying Arsenal rebuild needs to start from the top down, not from the back up.
both. I think a manager like Jardine, like
Yeah.
I said for Tottenham, Tottenham didn't get him. I think Jardine would be a very interesting option. Uh, I don't know, but it's yeah. I think Conte. Why doesn't anyone get? I know he did a. He said he didn't want to coach for a year, but I think he just didn't get the right option, like the right deal. I just.
Yeah, I mean one of the tougher things that I've seen, just and again doing this research on it and going back and looking at all these people that Arsenal have been, and this was previous to confirmation that European soccer football. Oh,
Mhm.
sorry, slipped up there. That European football was not on the horizon, but they were linked, at least in the news. They were linked with Buendia. They were linked with Wijnaldum, Depay, Hakimi, right? Like you said, these are not the signings that are necessarily going to build for the future right now. And then you have to look also, I think you have to rebuild from the center. You have Partey, you have to figure out how to keep him healthy. But you have Torreira probably leaving. Guendouzi, I believe, is definitely leaving, probably to
Yes.
Marseille. Bellerin should potentially leave. I know he's not the midfield, he's a right back. But El Neni, potentially, I don't mind keeping him around. It makes sense. He's relatively tidy. He doesn't offer too much, but he does offer, I believe, structure. And then Shaka, who it depends on which Arsenal fan you ask. They either want to hurt him or hug him. I don't know.
He's
Although I
gone.
wouldn't.
He's gone.
He's definitely gone.
Yeah, he's gone to Roma, I think, and
Oh,
Guendouzi to Marseille.
I did hear that. I
So
just didn't know for sure. But that's a gaping hole. Who's in your midfield now? Who is
yeah.
in your midfield? You have Partey in the center. You have potentially Lukanga. You, I guess, you could put Emil Smith Rowe
No.
at center mid. Do you move Ainsley Maitland-Niles into
They
center
need
mid?
a proper eight. They need a proper eight in
They
that
do.
position. And Lakanga, I think, would be a good substitute option.
Right.
But I'll leave it to you guys. Put it in the comment section down below. Who should be the eight that Arsenal get? Now
Yeah.
that we're 2 minutes in to finish the pod, like
But I'm gonna just name drop one more name because I think he should get a chance next year, at least a chance to soak up some minutes. You could have Joe Willock coming back, obviously
Yes.
from Newcastle, but a chance to soak up some minutes. Put Miguel Aziz in. Let him do his thing. Okay. First, you have
Miguel
to.
Aziz. He's a skiller.
Yes.
He's a
Yes.
skiller. I like that mention. So I'd like to thank everyone who supports us here and who's listening to FC Wonderkid episode 11. The TikTok support has been unbelievable. Look at my guy Brenton pulling up the merch.
It's happening.
Comment down below if you want to see it. We're already with the plans. And yeah, I just feel so happy. Like you put goat reply. No, you guys, the community are the real goats. And I wanted to end it on that. And yeah.
I agree, and let's keep everything as we want constructive criticism, so please do send it along to us. Make sure it's constructive. Neither of us are perfect, but we love talking about football. We love talking to you about football, and we hope that we can continue to do this as long as you'll have us.
I love it. So here with you, we're going to end up, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and peace out.
See you.